Princess Kira stood on the crystalline balcony of the royal palace, watching the latest delegation of suitors depart through the shimmering atmosphere of her homeworld. The tall, serpentine beings from the Viridian Empire slithered toward their vessel with obvious disappointment, their scaled heads shaking in what she had learned was their expression of disdain. Another failure, her father, King Theron, said as he approached behind her. His forearms crossed in the traditional gesture of frustration among their people. The Viridians found you too emotional. The crystalline collective before them deemed you too unpredictable. And the Silicon Lords complained that your thoughts were too chaotic for their minds to comprehend. Kira's luminescent skin dimmed with sadness. For 3 cycles now, representatives from the most powerful species in the galaxy had come to court her, seeking political alliance through marriage. Each time, they left disappointed. Her empathic abilities, considered a rare gift among her people, seemed to unnerve every alien species that encountered her. "Perhaps I am simply meant to remain unwed," she said softly, her voice carrying the melodic quality of her race. King Theron placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "The council grows impatient. Our world needs these alliances to survive the coming conflicts. There is one more delegation arriving tomorrow." "Which empire sends representatives this time?" Kira asked, though she could barely muster curiosity anymore. "Not an empire," her father replied with uncertainty. "A single representative. From a species called humanity. They are new to the galactic community, and frankly, most consider them primitive. But they requested an audience, and we cannot afford to refuse any potential alliance." The next day, Kira prepared herself for another disappointment. She adorned herself in the traditional ceremonial robes that enhanced her natural bioluminescence, and took her place in the grand hall. The massive doors opened with their characteristic harmonic chime, and she expected to see another imposing alien form stride through. Instead, a relatively small bipedal creature entered. The human appeared, unremarkable compared to the magnificent beings she had previously met. He stood only slightly taller than herself, with pale skin unmarked by scales, crystals, or any other obvious adaptation. His hair was a simple brown color, and his eyes were an unusual blue shade. "Your Highness," the human said, offering a bow. That seemed awkward compared to the elaborate genuflections of other species. "I am Ambassador Jake from Earth. Thank you for granting me this audience." Kira found herself immediately intrigued. Unlike other suitors who had broadcast their thoughts loudly or maintained impenetrable mental barriers, this human's mind felt different. It was warm, complex, and surprisingly accessible to her empathic abilities without being overwhelming. "Welcome, Ambassador Jake," she replied. "I confess, I know little of your species." Jake smiled, an expression that somehow conveyed more warmth than the complex facial movements of other aliens. "We are indeed new to galactic politics. We lack the advanced technologies of the great empires, and we have no exotic abilities like telepathy or matter manipulation. We are, by most standards, quite ordinary." Over the following days, Jake remained at the palace as custom dictated. Unlike previous suitors who had spent their time demonstrating their species' superiority or discussing political advantages, Jake simply talked with Kira. He shared stories of Earth, describing concepts that were foreign to galactic civilization. Art created purely for beauty rather than function, music that served no purpose but to evoke emotion, and literature that explored the depths of mortal experience. "Your people create beauty without purpose?" Kira asked during one of their conversations in the palace gardens. "We believe beauty is its own purpose," Jake replied. "We paint sunsets not because they serve a function, but because they move us. We write poetry about love and loss, not to achieve goals, but to understand ourselves." Kira felt something she had never experienced with other suitors. Through her empathic connection, she sensed not the cold calculation of political advantage, but genuine curiosity about her thoughts and feelings. Jake asked about her dreams, her fears, and her hopes for the future. No other being had ever shown such interest in her as an individual rather than as a political asset. "Why do you not find my emotional nature disturbing?" she asked one evening. As they watched the twin moons rise, Jake considered this carefully. On Earth, we believe that emotions are what make us most alive. Logic and efficiency are tools, but emotion gives meaning to existence. Your empathic gift would be treasured among my people, not feared. When the formal courting period ended, Jake stood before King Theron and the Royal Council. "I cannot offer vast fleets or advanced technology," he said honestly. "Humanity is young and small compared to the galactic powers. But I can offer something perhaps more valuable: genuine partnership. Not an alliance based on fear or calculation, but one built on mutual respect and affection." The council members exchanged uncertain glances. This was not the sort of proposal they had expected. "And what does Princess Kira think of this offer?" King Theron asked. Kira stepped forward, her skin glowing brighter than it had in years. "I think that sometimes the most valuable things come in unexpected forms. Ambassador Jake offers something no other suitor has: acceptance of who I truly am." King Theron studied the human carefully. "You would take our daughter to a distant world, away from all she has known?" "If she chooses to come," Jake replied. "But I would also be honored to learn your ways and perhaps make this world my home as well." True partnership requires sacrifice from both sides. As Kira looked at Jake, she realized that the greatest strength was not always the most obvious one. Where others had seen weakness in humanity's lack of advanced abilities, she saw an opportunity for genuine connection. In a galaxy full of powerful beings who viewed relationships as transactions, she had found someone who understood that the heart's desires could not be calculated or conquered, only freely given. The alliance between her world and humanity would indeed prove to be one of the most enduring in galactic history, built not on fear or necessity, but on the simple human understanding that some bonds transcend politics and power.